Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISRC Lariat Production Truck Series. Tonight, it is the Season 5 playoffs for the round of 8 cutoff race to figure out the 4 drivers that will be running for a championship next week at Miami and Homestead. And this race is so crucial. We've got ourselves one driver already locked into the Final Four, being John Forbes after his win last week at that of Rockingham. And now we've got ourselves just 7 drivers, 3 spots. Who's making it in? Well, let's find out where they're going to be starting here tonight. As taking the top of the board, already has his win and locked in, but wants to carry the momentum. John Forbes taking the pole here at Iowa. Cody Reed going to be in second place with Ollie Fonseca in third. Joshua Kanata going to be in fourth, with Danny Cochran in second. 6 goes to Mark Whitley. Christopher Norris going to be in 7th. 8th is Mason Cassidy. GT Rosario in 9th. And 10th is going to be Justin Smith. My name is Sam Dyer. Also joining me up in the booth is going to be Zach Hall, with Zach giving you the rest of the lineup.
11th is going to be Eric Stamp. 12th is going to go to Nick Crawford. 13th is going to go to the 46 at Trenton Jump. 14th is going to be the 29 of Logan Brakey, with 15th being Dakota Moniz. And the final 2 trucks on our field tonight. 16th is Louis Martin Morales, and then rounding out our field is 17th Malik Kuntz with R17 trucks.
Once again, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Monday night coverage of the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Also running productions this evening will be Robert Moyer Jr. As tonight's race, the cutoff race of the round of 8, these are where the 8 drivers are placed coming in tonight based off the points. You have John Forbes, who's locked in because of his win last week. Ollie Fonseca, Christopher Norris, 2nd and 3rd in points. They have a 9-point buffer over Trenton Jump. 4th in points. Last driver, cutoff line, it's Joshua Kanata with a 3-point buffer over Trenton Jump. Then 5th place, Except Jump is going to be running in that position, 3 points out from making it into our Final Four. Danny Cochran is 4 points out from our Final Four. Mark Whitley, 12 points out of our Final Four. And Cody Reed, the biggest deficit of 13. Zach, certainly there's some drivers in a bigger window than others, but tonight at Iowa, really it's on the line. Anyone still has a chance to be knocked in or out with 17 drivers and a stage break with some massive points to be grabbed.
I think that was the most important thing you said there, Sam, is everybody has a shot at this thing to, point their way in. So we'll see how the night goes. Will tonight get a little bit wild? How aggressive will they be here to start this off? Because they know stage points could literally be the deciding factor for this. So you cannot waste any time. From the drop of the green flag, I think you're going to see 110% from all 8 of those playoff drivers other than John Forbes. I mean, he has no worries, of course, with the win last week, locking himself in. But the rest of the 7, they got to be sitting there saying, we have to go out here and perform to our maximum ability if we want to be one of those other 3 joining John Forbes at Homestead.
And you're aiming for those best finishes and the stage break to figure out what bonus points you can grab. And here's going to be the stage bonus points and also other bonus points that can be grabbed. The first bonus point you're aiming for is leading a lap. That will give you 1 bonus point. If you lead the most laps, you grab yourself with 3. If you do not make contact with the wall or other drivers or get an incident point, you get 1 bonus point. The stage break, top 10 drivers get points. If you win the stage, get 10 bonus points. Second gets 9. Third gets 8 bonus points. It continues to dwindle down until 10th place gets 1. Tonight's race, 140 laps. Stage break at the end of lap 60. No fast repairs. 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. And we are green for the last race of the round of 8. And it's going to be the teammates, John Forbes, Cody Reed, roaring through 1 and 2 with Forbes with the lead, exiting 2.
How aggressive will Cody Reed be with his teammate John Forbes, who's locked in? Cody Reed knows he is the farthest out when it comes to the points, and right now he wants to go up here and get that bonus point for leading a lap, Sam.
Drivers know it's crucial as Mark Whitley brushing the outside wall. The tires are so important. Make your passes early, because if you don't have the lead initially, you're going to be in a troublesome spot later on. Cody Reed already going to get a bonus point for leading a lap and taking the lead position by a good margin. He's off and rolling, but slow and backing off. It's the 98 of Malik Kuntz, who got a penalty last week for influencing the race, and right now struggling in the early going.
Yeah, right now he's going to be about 12 seconds off the field after a spin coming off a 4. As we check back in to the front of this pack, it's Christopher Norris in the 38 machine, who came in here tied for 2nd in points, looking to move himself on through the points or possibly go get a win that would lock himself in. But He's got a lot of hungry competitors around him. One of those is Trayton Jump, who's trying to make the charge through.
Christopher Norris probably has one of the bigger targets on his back after last round, sweeping those 2 races in the round of 12. Drivers were not a fan of the way that he was running that race, hoping that maybe he'll learn to maybe not get a target on his back, with drivers being aggressive. Mark Whitley dealing with a little bit of right side damage after brushing the wall off the exit turn 4, but Danny Cochran is going to be our Season 3 champion, hoping for a good run. Currently in 5th, trying to run down Ali Fonseca, who again is tied with Christopher Norris, plus 9 in points. A solid, comfortable place coming into tonight's race.
And definitely a solid position. And Fonseca, I got to say, is looking very, very strong to start this race. So that's a good sign from the 24, who's been really, really good this round. So no surprise to see him up there. 2nd place in points is Kanata. A little bit of a wiggle there off of 4 for him. That's going to open up the door possibly there for a moment for the 24 minutes. The 2 of Cochran, who takes advantage of this as he's knowing he needs more points than his teammate does.
Side by side with the teammates of Larson, line almost some contact off the exit turn 2, and Danny Cochran trying to make this pass. Every position so crucial. It's going to be based off a mistake if you're going to advance forward, but they are really getting close off the exit. And with teammates, they recognize we have to be aggressive here because we've got probably one of the toughest drivers if he makes the final 4, Mark Whitley, right behind him.
That they do, and you know, if Whitley's out of this thing, it's really a wide open race one, I'd say, who would be the favorite going into it. So you put Whitley in it, he's always, I think, going to be the favorite when it comes down to it. But yet to get that championship in here, ISRC, we'll see if he has the opportunity here tonight to get himself with a chance to at least fight for that chance.
And he has seen a great battle in front of him between that Joshua Kanata, Ali Fonseca, Danny Cochran, really getting antsy on who's going to make this pass. And this is a great showing of why it's so difficult to make a pass. Just Danny Cochran initially had the momentum to try to go to the inside and make a pass just out of 3 laps ago, but it has just been so impossible to make any moves. Mark Whitley going to try to dive down low to slide his way in front of the 2, but there's no gap, there's no spacing, and he'll be trapped on the inside now.
This is what we're going to see a lot of tonight here. It's going to take a lot of truck, I would say, and a lot more speed to make passes, because you can just see working that bottom groove. It's the fastest way around when you're by yourself, but when you have a truck on the outside and you're not able to fully let that wheel out, let the truck go out towards the wall, you just can't carry the speed that the other drivers can on the outside of you, and you have to lift. And I think we're just going to see a lot of that tonight, Sam. Is it's going to be tough to make passes on that bottom side, but if you can, that's going to be the driver to watch out for.
And drivers here tonight recognizing the importance of stage racing. Tonight we do have a stage at the end of lap 60, and like I tried to notify before, I mean, you win the stage, you get 10 bonus points. 2nd, you get 9. 3rd, you get 8. Continues to drop down until you only get 1 point for 10th place. But with where these playoff drivers are running, these bonus points could completely squeeze everyone a lot closer to the cutoff line, even for the likes of Christopher Norris, who came into tonight with a 9-point buffer. Where some of his competition is running, he could be in a very tricky spot with a driver that's loving what's happening on track. Cody Reed in the 25, if he finishes where he's at right now, that's going to help out where he came in with a negative 13 points over Joshua Kanata.
You're exactly right, Sam. And I mean, that's 2 tell of the different tapes there. I mean, Christopher Norris came in, when it comes to points, very good looking tonight. Well, it shows you one stage can flip everything, because the guy who came in here last in those points has an opportunity to come out of the stage looking very, very close to being able to have a way better shot at pointing himself in. So Cody Reed already doing exactly what he needs to do, but let's see if he can hold this together, because he has opened the gap up. I'm concerned, has he gone out there too hard to, get this gap built up, or has he been managing it? We'll just have to see how well he can do.
There was talked about between the drivers being very important and crucial for themselves. I talked to most of the drivers coming into the night on what their confidence level was. The only driver that I didn't get to talk to was John Force and Mark Whitley, but Cody Reed coming into tonight really had a pretty low confidence level into tonight's race. It really was a lot of crucial on the factor of qualifying. If qualifying went well, he felt pretty high that he had a chance to win this race. And just said, hey, the cards need to fall in my favor, and I've got a chance to really move on to the next round. But he only came in with a 3 out of 10 confidence level in tonight's race, and it makes sense when you have such a big gap in a small field that you're racing with.
You're exactly right. It's just so hard to make up those points with the amount of trucks we have out here. So right now. Reed, no, it's a tall task ahead of him, but he has got the pace, it seems like, here tonight to have the opportunity to go to fight as we're getting a good battle starting to flare up once again as Mark Whitley's trying to attack the two of Danny Cochran as Cochran's got actually around his teammate of Fonseca as now Fonseca's in the clutches of Mark Whitley is even this is allowing the 17 of Mason Cassidy, Trent Jump, Christopher Norris all to close in with this group here about this 5th position on back.
Yeah, and see Mason Cassidy, non-playoff driver, that's inside of our top 9. He's the only driver of our top 9 that are non-playoff drivers, as everyone else recognizes such a crucial race and needed to get a good day. But Mason Cassidy, Trent Jump, 7th and 8th position, had their own little fights in bickers last week at Rockingham. And a lot of those drivers try to, squash their beef, not have any issues coming into tonight's race. I'm curious on who does still have issues with one another. We start to see drivers getting close as they continue to race on, with Mason Cassidy trying to follow in the footsteps of Mark Whitley, who continues to be stalled out by the Larson Line teammates.
Just not able to find the way around them yet here, Sam. Is he's been quick. I've watched the lap times a few times. He'll light up the board and run one of the quickest times. So the 77, I think, does have a good bit of pace in tune, but he's trying everything to get around Ali Fonseca. If he's not careful, that opens up the door for guys like Mason Cassidy, like Trent Jump right here to, get to his outside. As it looks like now Mark going to rip the top of the wall here to see if he can build some momentum heading into 1 and 2 as this track opens up the opportunities on Fonseca's into the outside wall. That's going to open up a big opportunity for the 50 or the 77.
Big opportunity, but it's really going to come down if he can get across and clear, but going to stay stable side by side and not be able to make the pass. It's Mark Whitley as he'll fall back in line for 6th place. Nick Crawford, driver that got knocked out before the round of 8. A lot of controversy around the moves that were made between the 74 as well as Ollie Fonseca, Nick Crawford at Martinsville that bounced out the 74 from racing for a championship as he is last season's champion. Now it's to watch to see the crowning of somebody new potentially, as we are 21 laps in the book and Nick Crawford just running in 10th, just watching the chaos in front of him. And I think watching from a distance might be the safest thing with some of the drivers and the aggression level that we're going to see ramp up later on in here tonight.
I think you're exactly right, Sam. I think it's a great position from him. Let's look at Mark Whitley finally able to throw the slide job maneuver as he's going to get crossed over by the 24 Fonseca, but now going to have the preferred group on the outside. This is job done, I think, for Mark Whitley, as he's just got to get a clean exit here, and he should be able to clear the 24.
That outside of 3 and 4 is looking very strong if you make sure that you're carrying the momentum and not get into that outside wall. And Mark Whitley has been trying to perfect it here in the early going, 23 laps in, and Mark Whitley able to finally move just 1 position. Ollie Fonseca, though, is one of the drivers that's lost the most spots. The 24 already down 3 positions in just the first 23 laps. Zach, this is very concerning if you're Ollie, because we're not even halfway through the stage, and he's in the clutches of maybe even being knocked out of our top 10 if he's not careful.
It is very concerning for that 24 team, Sam. They cannot have points slip away from him, as right now Trenton Jump is actually trying to get around Mason Cassidy in the 17 machine for that 7th place battle. Is that 46, he's hungry for points. Started 13th, Sam. I think Trenton Jump's going to be the one to watch out for him. When he gets to Ali Fonseca, he knows every point he can get over that 24 is going to be something that he needs.
And another driver you've talked about of who's going to conserve on those tires, Christopher Norris as well as Nick Crawford have been slowly inching forward as the battling intensifies of the drivers inside of our top 8. 38 just trying to pick and choose where to go to use his momentum as Trenton Jump gets right on the back bumper of Mason Cassidy, and that might hurt him off the exit. Just got too close and back out of that run. Same for Norris as everyone single files up. A little bit of side-by-side action though ahead of them as the intensity level ramps up for 3rd place. Joshua Kanata, Danny Cochran, they are starting to put on a show with Mark Whitley not wanting the 2 to get too far ahead.
That they are. I noticed this was starting to heat up here, Sam, as Kanata's had his rear end stepping out as Mark Whitley just drifts off a 4, just showing how hard they're working to get the speed out of these trucks. But Kanata definitely under threat as Cochran's been able to roll up to him and catch him along with the threat of Mark Whitley here. So this 2 and this 77, they look very, very strong here, Sam, and they both want to go get a chance to go fight for a championship at Homestead.
I feel like that's not a surprise. I mean, the last 2 seasons, it's really been Danny Cochran, Mark Whitley. When we come to a short track, they're always the favorites to watch out for. The question is who can get up front and have that clean air first. It it looks to be that's the challenge right now. Who can get ahead of these drivers and try to run down Cody Reed, which the 25 machine running a special scheme for himself. He's ran this scheme before in many seasons, but the 25 deciding to run his pink scheme that he found himself in a victory lane at Watkins Glen with, and as well as ran consistently inside of the top 5 in every race that he's had this scheme for. And he's hoping that that's going to continue on here this evening, which, I mean, for some guys, Zach, it feels like that superstition. They have to run a special scheme, maybe it's special socks, whatever it is, to hope that they can find that luck.
There's always something about finding that comfort level, in my opinion. You know, when you find something that works for yourself, like we see here with Cody Reed, who's got about an 0.8 of a second gap, who's watching lap times, he has been starting to fall back into the clutches of John Forbes just a tiny bit. It's only been a few hundredths of a second each and every lap, but that could start to add up here. But yeah, definitely you'd like to find the comfort level as a driver. Once you do find that comfort level, sometimes it can be those little superstitions that give you that comfort in your mind of, this is a good luck charm for me, and I'm gonna keep rolling with it. And hopefully for Reed, that's how it plays out.
Cody Reed's been losing ground as John Forbes is trying to chip away each and every lap. It just seems like the center of the corner is where the strength of 25 is. The exit, a little bit of disparity, but for Cody Reed, continues to keep at least over a half a second ahead of John Forbes, which Forbes is starting to see the ramping up of Kanata, Danny Cochran, Mark Whitley, as they're closing in for that battle for second. Other battles on track. It's for 6th place. Mason Cassidy is making the charge on Ollie Fonseca. Trent Jump as well, trying to get by this 24 machine, who continues to just show struggles right now. But Trent Jump, nowhere really to go. He's trying to find any way to advance forward past the 17, who chose the inside lane, but that might be a conveyor belt to go backwards.
Oh, and Christopher Norris thought he was going to have a chance to get to the outside of the 17, but the 17 closes the door. Good job by Mason to jump in that hole that could have quickly closed if he let the 38 just get there, and that's going to allow now Christopher Norris to look to the bottom side here of him and see if he can make the pass in. Looks like he will clear himself.
Whoa!
Oh no, big slide.
Big slide, center of the corner, try to gas it up to make the slide job move. Instead, he's going to fall back to his teammate of going to be Nick Crawford. Mason Cassidy held his line, but the grip, we're past the halfway point of this stage, and those moves that you were able to make in those first 20 laps no longer going to be the factor here, as Christopher Norris has to reset and tackle and see if we can get back into a passing position in the next 5 laps.
This is so tough, Sam. You know, we watched these two right here from Snowy Desert Racing, the complete opposite of their two teammates. Save tire here out back, but they can catch up to this group. It's just getting around them, and that's what's making things tough. And sometimes that's where you gotta weigh those options of how much do you really want to save. And you know, that's always the question in your mind as we look back here. It looks like Logan Brakey here putting some pressure on that 14 of GT Rosarios. They're going to battle just outside of that top 10 stage points position.
Yeah, kind of running for the best of the rest back here. Drivers that really didn't put in the time or have the time to practice in. Also, huge shout out to the 5 of Dakota Moniz, who was able to show up for tonight's race. He's been busy with real life reffing for football and other sports. The 5, always good to see him back out on the track. As Eric Stamp, as well as Justin Smith, side by side as the 53 and the 6. As this grouping, I mean, it always shows the back half of the field, probably always the best battling on track if you're not seeing a lot up front, as they're giving us a great showing of drivers that are trying to make passes, but it's so difficult. You can stay side by side for quite a while for these 4 drivers on screen.
This is one thing I love. The back half of the field here at ISRC is always fun to watch. Like you said, Sam, some of the best battles is Morales almost into the back bumper. The 5 is now he's going to cross under, try the 3-wide move. As you're going to see some great battling back here. And it doesn't matter if it's 15th, 25th, you know, any position, these guys are going to be pushing hard. And that's what we love to see right here for this racing is we got more action going on back up front. Is now Kanata again, once again, under attack from the 2 and the 77 of Mark Whitley, but just cannot get past yet.
And that's great move by Mark Whitley. Kind of looking like a Gen 4 car. We've had 2 of those series we covered here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting throughout the week on Wednesdays and Thursdays. That 77's rear end kicked out once again off the exit of 4, and throwing it down low as Mark Whitley wants to make the slide job work, but there's not enough spacing. He'll have to force the issue, and Danny Cochran just keeps a nose. And Joshua Kanata as well, kind of assisting that outside lane, not allowing Mark Whitley to make the pass just yet.
He knows this is valuable points right here over this 2 machine that the 77 really wants, and he's fighting strong right now. And it looks like Kanata kind of the cork in this bottle, and that could hold the 2 up here a little bit. If not, but the 77 super loose there, almost a wreck.
Almost swiping and taking out Danny Cochran. Instead, they'll fall back in line, and those tires that have been used up by Mark Whitley, trying to make every pass aggressive move, just a little bit too warmed up for that momentum. And as these drivers scatter once again, hey, we gotta give kudos. Ollie Fonseca, he's not been passed. He's actually able to try to ramp back up because of that battling issue between these 3 drivers, battling for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The 24 is back in the mix.
This is one of the fun things to see is these cycles of tires, and when you get these like little bit of traffic jams when it comes to these longer runs, you get to see guys who maybe dropped back 20 laps ago, but now they're finding their 2nd win. It looks like Fonseca's doing very well of that. I mean, he's the quickest car of everybody up to Cody Reed. So doing a great job right now is that 24. He's trying to close back in as you got right here the battle for 11th going on. His Breaky's been trying to pass GT Sorry for a while, but just hasn't been able to get it done.
Either watch the battling that's going on for 11th, or you watch the battling that's going on for 13th. They are both putting on some shows. The driver back in 17th position. Lee Kuhn's kind of in no man's land because of his big slide of these 4 drivers. 13th back to 16th. You just continue to slice and dice. And, you know, even if you know you're having a bad day at a race, you're not going for a run. It's Eric Stamp into the outside wall. That's going to scatter this group to go around. And they certainly can put on a show. But at the same motion, if one driver has an issue like that, that could almost bring out a yellow as the drivers continue to race on. And Eric Stamp going to have to deal with some massive damage now after that big slam.
Oh man, that was close, and great job by Moniz being heads up there, not running over the 53. That could have easily been our first yellow flag of the night. As it looks like Breaky has got around Irizarry, and look at him driving a gap away, and it just shows you how much faster you have to be to make passes. As you know, Breaky's been look much quicker, got the pass done, and is starting to just gap the 14.
It's all about, can you make the pass? I would say another driver that could probably do the same thing that Logan's doing is Mark Whitley. He is just praying to get by Danny Cochran once again. Another attempt by the 77 as we are in crunch time to see who's going to get inside of our top 10 here for bonus points. Again, our stage break at the end of lap 60. Top 10 drivers get bonus points. And for Cody Reed, he is the only driver to lead a lap here tonight. 25. He's got that 1 bonus point. Trying to also go for the most laps led, which would be 3 bonus points for himself and a stage win. I mean, Zach for 25 is just trying to maximize on the bonus points for himself here tonight.
I mean, he's just racking them up, Sam. That's what you got to do, though, man. And with it being a 140-lap race, leading the first 47, it's going to be tough for somebody to lead more laps than him if he can continue this all the way. Lap 60 is we're getting to see this great battles. I think Mark Whitley finally has found the opening as it was the 2 sliding, also with the 77 drifting. It was just who could not lift more.
Who could not lift more, and who's going to get off the wall quicker, and it looked like Mark Whitley looked like a lot more of a dangerous reaction for the 77 once he rushed the wall, but that aggression working it out, allowing Mark to make the pass after the mistake by Danny Cochran. But once again, at exit of 4, in the run, seems to be the most dangerous place on the track. Who's willing to risk it all? Get back to the throttle and get as close as they can to the outside wall to help on the straightaway that can set up a pass in. Just like that, Mark is past Danny Cochran for 4th, and now it's Joshua Kanata, coming in tonight, I mean, confidence level wasn't too high. Felt very unassured on how tonight's race is going to go. Just a 3-point buffer over triple jump, but having a 13 and a 12-point buffer over Mark Whitley and Cody Reed, all that this 16 needs to do is just have a solid run at this moment because of how far Christopher Norris is on getting stage points. This 16 could jump Norris on points coming into after this stage is done, which then the 16, all he would have to do is make sure he's ahead of Christopher Norris, and he would not be that bubble driver if Cody Reed or someone else outside of a top 4 in the win.
This is huge for Kanata. He's got to hold back the 77, though. Cannot give up even 1 single point because that's going to be huge for the situation. Like you said, you know, jumping someone like a Christopher Norris back in 9th, who's only going to look to get possibly 2 points at most for him. So it's looking tough because Mark Whitley, if they can let the 77 loose, they might be in trouble because he's really been the only driver I can see that can make really good, clean, concise passes.
He's been able to put the aggression on, and at this point, it's more of it's a clean pass, but also a lot of aggression is diving it down low. Slide job move, looking like a dirt tracker is Mark Whitley, maybe a little bit too much as Joshua Kanata gets the run, dives down low, trying to clear, and will do so over the 77, and that's the type of moves you're gonna have to make if you're gonna make a pass. Just wasn't able to stop it and slow down the 16's momentum in the center of the corner. So it's now another attempt for Mark Whitley.
What an attempt at least, though. That was wild to watch as Kanata did everything perfect. He did not flinch. He did not gas it up in the center trying to get, back to the outside of him. He waited on that gas, got the truck straight, and made sure he cleared him and got away from the side draft, too, most importantly, down the front straightaway. And got back to the hold of that position, but Whitley, is not going to be waiting for long. He's going to be trying it once again.
Mark Whitley probably recognizing, hey, it took Josh almost a full front straightaway to make this pass. If I can time this right, might be able to take that lead position once the yellow flag comes out at the end of the stage, which we are in that zone. If a yellow flag strikes now or at the end of lap 60, that will be the stage, either an on-track incident or when the stage is completely completed. Top 10 drivers right now. This is really the only battle for position as Mark Whitley tries another dive bomb move. He stops, he stutters, and puts the 16 in a precarious spot, but able to get back into the throttle is Joshua Kanata, but he's going to stay side by side until the entry. A very shallow spot for the 16. It's going to hurt his exit as Mark Whitley, he's setting up for a good run, but here comes the rest of the field, seeing a chance to pounce here.
With that big checkup in the center of the corner that he tried to do with the 16 right there, that brought everybody right back into the mix. Here is Danny Cochran. Here's Ali Fonseca even. I mean, Fonseca, if he gets the top 5 in this stage, what a rebound for him as he was going backwards. But again, the 77 to the bottom, really trying to slide job again, once again, down in the 30.
Trying to fully clear here off the exit of turn 2. Not able to do so. Kanata gets the better run. They stay side by side. The side drafting maneuver for Mark Whitley. Able to throw it down low. Has the run. Has the positioning. And that's the pass you're looking for Mark Whitley up to 3rd. But a little bit of a slower exit. But Kanata doesn't have the momentum to even fight back the 16. Just has to settle for 4th at this current moment. But Danny Cochran and others, they might know, hey, this is our last chance. We got a couple of laps. Do we throw our truck away for stage points or just settle for where we're at currently?
That's the huge question on their mind for sure, because they know everybody around them is the drivers who are battling for stage points with them. They know 1 point this way can go a lot way to the other driver too. So it's going to be fun to see if anybody makes any crazy maneuver. But man, what a job by Whitley there. And I think he's figured something out. If you can just, pin him up to that top line, and hopefully just get a good enough drive through the center right there up against them, you should be able to hold on to the spot.
Speaking of up against, Mason Gasly got up against the outside wall for a quick moment, and that's going to be putting him in a closer spot as we are on the last lap of the stage. No drivers are really showing signs that they're going to aim for a pass as Cody Reed in the pink machine. He certainly is driving fast as he is enjoying the front of this 25 as he will cross the line as your stage winner. Will wait for 10th place to cross the line before the stage is done. And there's a little bit of passing action going on back there for the positions of 6th and 7th as Trenton Jump and Ali Fonseca will be side by side, but 10th place crosses the line, and that will be the stage for these drivers as Cody Reed will find himself taking that top spot and maximizing his points so far. And now it's time for the games. I was hearing drivers talking about Zach, pit road could be a major place to gain some positions. Who would test taking just 4 tires? You might think about 2 tires to get up front.
Ooh, that is very true, Sam. That threw me for a little bit there for sure, thinking about that possibility, because it just matters how much you wear those left sides. I know, talking to a few drivers, these trucks were very tight, but we see them get loose off the exit, so it can step out on you. So those 2 tires can hurt you when it comes to that. But great job by Cody Reed winning the stage, man. That's 10 valuable bonus points there for him, along with already the 1 point for leading the lap, and hopefully to add another 3 for leading the most laps. So Cody Reed looking to, again, like we said, maximize his night out, but no mistakes on pit road. That's going to be the key for him.
Don't make mistakes as everyone enters pit road, expecting majority of them to take 4 tires and fuel. But who would be willing to take the gamble? As everyone enters pit road, was also talking to the drivers, fuel is not expected to be the issue. Tires should be good. And it's going to be based off we get in yellows on what could change up the strategy calls for later on, as it is a challenge into pit road. Our leaders got to take a real sweeping action into their boxes. John Force, Cody Reed, they enter their boxes, but who could exit out faster? Mark Whitley hoping for a slight advantage as he had an earlier stop than others. But Mark Whitley does have to move out. He cannot stay low through his box, moves up, and Cody Reed gonna exit out. John Forbes should have gotten second and will, as the race off of pit road is slightly intense, and Joshua Kanata will fall to 5th place after the exit of pit road, and Trent Jump, big gain for the 46.
Huge gain for that 46. That is going to be fun to see him up there in the first 2 rows, Sam. That's going to be wild to watch. But Cody Reed executing well on pit road along with John Forbes, and that kind of puts a buffer zone between him and Mark Whitley. Cody Reed now with that stage win, got to be feeling good.
Got to be feeling good, and hey, let's see if we can queue up our stage winner and see how he's feeling after this run. Cody Reed, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Cody, you have led the lap and now looking to be leading the most laps here tonight as this race progresses forward. But man, how are you feeling after this stage? Because you look mighty fast up front.
Man, I am terrified. I really just need this to go green, and I think I've got it. As long as like no shenanigans happen or anything. But like, wow, I've been like stressing up here. This is like my first stage win ever since season 1, but that one didn't really count because that was season 1, and that was under like a weird. I pit before the stage and drove up through the field, but this one's like straight up. Like led every single lap. Like I feel pretty good about that. I feel good about my race pace. Hopefully I can just finish it out.
Well, Cody, we're hoping you definitely can finish it out, man. But what do you think is going to be the toughest part to end this race? Is it going to be holding off someone behind you, or is it just going to be keeping your head together?
Keeping my head together, definitely.
Well, Cody, we're going to send you back to your team, get ready for this restart. Good luck, and hopefully we talk to you at the end of the night.
All right, see ya.
As that is going to be Cody Reed. Again, he's led a lap. He's the only driver to lead a lap so far here tonight. He won the stage, and if he leads another 6 more laps, he would take the crown of leading the most laps here this evening, and that would be an extra 3 bonus points on top of everything else that he's grabbed. And Zach, the points, we're going to have to wait until a commercial break for us to really calculate where the drivers are at points-wise, but this restart is where it all matters. Drivers have learned you have to make some big moves early on with these tires if you're going to advance in position. But for the ISRC 140, the last race of the round of 8, let the big moves come out because it's all about who makes the final 4. A little bit of a checkup. Drivers stacking up further on back, but up front it's all Cody Reed, John Ford, Trent Jump, Mark Whitley side by side as they go through 1 and 2.
Great jump there from the 25 of Reed, but Forbes is loose in the middle. This is going to open up the door for Trent Jump, and he's
jump!
And they're wrecking.
They're going to be side by side, big bumps all around, still 3 wide. Mark Whitley stuck all the way at the bottom. Trent Jump in the 3rd lane. Middle is John Forbes. Forbes not able to get back to the throttle, slight wiggle. Danny Cochran slams the outside wall. They stay 3 wide for 2nd place as Cody Reed loving this action behind, but John Forbes, massive damage. Same to Trent Jump as they're making the outside lane work. Mark has to default back into line as we're moving side by side. All Fonseca slots himself moving forward, but the 11 makes the pass, makes the move, and that was a major scare as Trent Jump with the crossover move for 2nd.
Big move from Trent Jump there, and look at Mark Whitley also stranded on the bottom there. He's going to be going backwards. It looks like Fonseca's even going to try to take advantage here off of 2 as he's going to look to close the door, and he will almost with the checkup ahead of him as it looks like Trent Jump throwing big moves.
Jump into the outside wall. Everyone stacks up behind. They're going to stay side by side. John Forbes holds steady and Mark Whitley around. Also off the nose of Malik Coates. And the 77 falls all the way back to the end of the line.
Wow, Sam. That intensity from that restart. I know exactly why the drivers were like that. They knew how hard it was to pass from before, and everybody put everything on the line right there.
It was just a big wiggle, big shimmy, and the 77 goes around, and these drivers do not care about the damage they're grabbing on the sides of their vehicles. They were beating and banging off the exit of the wall. You saw there Mark Whitley getting loose into Joshua Kanata, and then off the nose, the 98 spins around, and everyone else able to avoid. Whew! And that intensity, it's only going to ramp up more and more as we progress forward here tonight. As 77 able to loop it back forward, and he'll be starting all the way back in 16th position. But some strategy calls going to be made as drivers already thinking about pit stops here for drivers on back. Now, I was hearing this, Zach. Drivers were saying just a 1 lap advantage was great for yourself to have. This could be massive for those that just came into pit road.
I think this is kind of a no-brainer here, Sam, because if we look at this, we start with 5 sets of tires here tonight. So, of course, we start with the 1 set on the car. We just changed the set at stage 2, so that's burned 2 sets. That leaves 3 for most of these drivers. In this race, you can go 85 laps on a tank of fuel, so there is no need for a green flag stop. We can go completely to the end of the checkered flag if this thing stays green. You have 3 sets of tires still there sitting in pit road. I mean, why not burn one of the sets if you're farther back? I think this is going to be a huge advantage for some of these guys.
And with this caution and Cody Reed being the leader, that is an extra 3 bonus points for leading the most laps goes to Cody Reed. But massive deduction for points that were slamming into one another. That 0 incident point, Zach, that could be deducted from the likes of Ollie Fonseca, Trenton Jump, Mark Whitley. That is 1 bonus point that you cannot afford with how close points are being right now.
You're exactly right about that. It could be the difference. I mean, we've seen before in multiple seasons here at ISRC where we've had ties and tiebreakers come into effect. I mean, you don't want to be in that position saying, man, if I didn't get that incident, if I didn't get that little bump here, I didn't spin here, I would have had that extra point. And that could have been the difference. I mean, that's really all it is when it comes down to racing. It's every little thing you can squeeze out of it when it comes to the points.
As the drivers getting ready for the 1 to go marker on where they're going to go, we were not able to shout the sponsors out because we had to instantly go into the race time. So we want to shout out the amazing sponsors that help out here in the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series. Starting things off with the title sponsor being Larry R Productions. Hey, if you want to enjoy your day watching some YouTube videos that can give you a chuckle and a laugh and also some great reviews on top of that, go to Larry R Productions on YouTube and as well on Instagram to get your laughs. And as well, huge shout out to our white flag sponsor being the Laugh Lab. The Laugh Lab is an Instagram page posting NASCAR and racing related posts that help you get a good laugh on Instagram. Go to the_laugh_lab today. And as well, our qualifying sponsor going to be Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios. Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios, go to their Instagram page to check out the fully colored custom tattoos, prints, paintings, stickers, and more. And go check out their wide selection. And we'll talk about our other sponsor also right after this because the drivers are ready. They're set. Mark Whitley's in the back. Drivers that just got fresh rubber are back in 11th, led by Nick Crawford. And we are back to green flag action. Cody Reed, John Forbes going to be the lead drivers. And they've got Larson line right behind them with Danny Cochran and Ollie Fonseca.
That they do, and here we go. Reed with the lead. Can he hold on to it? Is now Cochran going to get aggressive here? Look to the inside of the 11 of John Forbes. As here's Ollie Fonseca seeing the door up on the outside. He's going to try to take advantage of it as Reed goes down and covers off the 2.
Holding up back Danny Cochran, not allowing him to get the run that was necessary to make a pass. Other drivers trying to move forward. Already up to 9th place is Nick Crawford with fresh rubber. He's trying to make the charge as quickly as possible. As the front 2 going to be Cody Reed, Danny Cochran, but John Forbes still fighting on the outside, as well as other drivers. Mason Cassidy, Christopher Norris, they stay side by side as Norris recognizing, hey, I did not get a good point stay. I need to stay close to Josh. Oh no! Christopher Norris kind of in a wreck with Mason Cassidy in the outside wall. Caution flag is out, and this has got some playoff implications.
That it does. Is I could have seen that coming from a mile. I saw the 38 try to clear himself in 2. He tried to clear himself again in 3 and 4. And the 17, has teammates involved, racing with this 38 for points. He's not going to back out of this, Sam, here. He's gonna fight everything for this 38, and he's going to stay in it. And right there, the 38 just up into him. That's going to put the 38 into the wall. Here comes Malik Kuntz. Here comes the pile in with Nick Crawford even there with those fresher tires. And man, oh man, that's just a tough break for the 38, who was a Final Four contender last season.
I mean, you just push more and more aggressively, and it just ultimately there was no more space to give as Mason Cassidy had the positioning. Norris kept on pushing to the outside groove, and it backs out horrendously for the 38. Now we're going to have Christopher Norris, Mark Whitley both fighting in the back half of the field, trying to close in on our top drivers. And this is when things are about to get a lot more interesting. Well, for us up at the booth, we are finding ourselves inching closer to the halfway zone. So we're going to take our first commercial break of the night. Thank you so much for joining with us on Monday night for the ISRC Lariat Production Truck Series. This is the ISRC 140 at Iowa, the last race of the round of 8. Thank you for joining with us. Some drivers entering pit road. When we come back, we'll let you know where they get placed. We'll be back right after this.
They're 5 wide behind her pit. Oh my, they're 5 wide here. This ain't gonna work. They make it last. Bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here. Coming off a 4. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes.
Oh,
Oh no, Carter gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another.
Opportunity to drive it down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck
Oh,
him.
they wrecked! They wrecked each other. The top 2 bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they gotta be careful. Oh no, and the 4 demolishes into 28.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back to green flag action. Drivers that just came into pit road, Eric Stamp, GT Rosario, they're back in 13th and 14th. But up front, it's Cody Reed, Danny Cochran, side by side. Great launch for the 2 as they roar down into turn number 1. Cochran with the lead, the 2 machine, where he needs to be with the clean air.
Man, oh man, what a job by him there to get the greatest restart of the night and able to clear the 25, who I think did not expect that maneuver to go on, as Forbes is trying to clear the 24 behind, almost puts him up in the wall.
Almost puts him up inside of the outside wall, and other drivers are trying to find any way to move forward. Some that were battling for last place are still in the middle of the mix to watch out for, as Mark Whitley, Christopher Norris still deep in the field, but it's Danny Cochran trying to get himself into victory lane. Cody Reed as well. John Forbes just trying to hold back the 24 in any way possible, but the fresh tires are on the move. Nick Crawford's up to 6th.
Those fresh tires just showing how much of a difference they are, Sam. It's crazy to say that just that little bit of difference is making up that much, but it is, as now he's going to come into this picture right here, think right in the next few moments, as he's right all over the back of that 16, as you're going to see him right here out of 4.
And this lap being led by Danny Cochran, a massive one. We were trying to calculate the points. Oh no, the 6 gonna spin off the exit of turn 4. It's Justin Smith into the grass, into pit road, and we stay green. As a big scare for himself, as that actually was down right to the pit road wall. There's a little bit of that runoff of the old pit road as they continue to race on, but back up front, we're seeing Logan Brakey watching in front of him the fresh tires of Nick Crawford leading the charge. Logan also has fresh tires and trying to figure out how to pick and choose as Crawford Ford's teammates, but the damage on the 11, he is really hurting right now.
That he is, and he's also got that 77 of Mark Whitley behind them. He's got the fresh tires also, as it's showing right now. These tires, they are very valuable as they're all trying to take advantage of the drivers ahead of them. But, oh man, breaking to the wall there almost right in front of Whitley. That's going to really slow him down and allow Trent Jump to come into the picture again.
Trent Jump trying to advance forward. Fresh rubber is so crucial at this time as Malik Kuntz, Mark Whitley getting close to one another off the exit of the corner. Whitley has been around all the chaos. He's been a magnet, but he recognizes, I gotta get away. But with 3 wide, you don't want to be near that. As you get the Armadillo teammates gonna be in the middle and top lane. Mark Whitley thinking about pushing Malik Kuntz and will do so, shoving the 98 by the Armadillo teammates as the 77 sets his sights on Trent Jump to move up to 8.
Wow, and Malik's going to have the freshest tires, I believe, of them all. He pitted 9 laps to go. The 98 really charging up through as he's trying to get aggressive with the 74 Nick Crawford. As Malik coming off that probation, he's taking some risks.
He was given a probation after a lot of racing implications, reckless driving last week at Rockingham. And only was given an EOL penalty they had to deal with here tonight and not able to qualify in the 98. John Forbes, these were the 2 drivers that had the issue last week with 98, putting the pressure, giving no give to the 11. Luckily for John Forbes here tonight, he has the win. It's okay. Anything that happens here tonight, he's making the final 4, but you don't want to have too many enemies heading into next week.
Yeah, this is no worries for John Forbes, of course, but he doesn't want anything to carry over, like you're saying, to Homestead for sure. As Malik is just diving through the field right now, trying to slice through it. Here's those fresh tires are definitely valuable. As Kanata, he's going to have a picture full of this, but it's Mark Whitley once again on the attack on the bottom. It just seems like all night Whitley has been on the bottom attacking drivers ahead of him.
He's trying every little move, and this is great knowledge for Mark Whitley because he's learning throughout the night. Some of those other drivers, such as Nick Crawford, Christopher Norris, when they were making moves, they were only thinking about saving their tires. They weren't taking in the knowledge of what it would take to make these passes, and the 77 has gotten a lot of those notes. Could assist him later on in this race if he's in a position to try to fight for a win, but they are still stacked up. Crawford trying to make his way forward in the 74 machine, but he's got the one of Mark Morales, Shiti Rosari, Logan Brakey. They're just not giving up as well as this cluster of drivers. Crucial points are important because Mark Whitley, practically where drivers are running, he's in a must-win scenario with the way that his points ran out after the stage.
That he is. It's going to be interesting to see if he can get up there and get to the victory because really not much time left in this race, but he does have the advantage of fresher tires than the drivers up in the front of this field. But at some point, I think that advantage will wipe away.
And other drivers also in a curious spot. Christopher Norris came in tonight inside of our top 4 with a 9-point advantage. He's in a position where if he finishes where he's at right now, Norris will not be fighting for a Final 4 championship after tonight. Tied with the most wins with Mark Whitley, and both drivers with the most wins coming into tonight's race may not even make the Final 4.
That would be a staggering statistic to see happen, but it looks like that's possibly what will play out because still a good bit of damage left on the nose of that 38 machine. He has got fresher tires in this group ahead of him, but just that nose damage not going to allow it to make downforce. He's going to have to definitely hope for some yellow flags to get that thing cleaned up.
He needs some help, and he's going to be for Christopher Norris. The mix of drivers have been having some of the best show all night long. Driver up ahead, though, into the outside wall. Mark Whitley once again so close on the exit of the corner. He is 77, just gives everything into the exit of turn 4 every single lap, and it's getting to a point where I'm getting nervous watching him on the exit of these corners.
Whitley, man, I'm telling you, he pushes the boundaries, as they would say. If there is a safer barrier that would like to move back, it's definitely one when Whitley comes by because he's willing to risk it, man. That's what I love about his driving style personally is he just really sends it, and it shows. He lays it out all on the line, but it definitely is a risky style sometimes. Will get you in a little bit of trouble, but right now trying to set up this 16 machine and maybe move himself even farther forward.
Trying to move forward. Joshua Ganada coming in tonight, 4th in points, only a 3-point buffer to work with. Well, I was doing some calculations on drivers and where they were at after the stage was over, and it was before Danny Cochran led a lap, got that bonus point. But we had a 3-way tie for that of 5th in points between Trent Jump, Danny Cochran, and Cody Reed. They were around that of 5 points off of Joshua Kanata. Kanata is in a position running in 4th place, in 5th place, where he cannot afford to lose any more spots. But with the lack of speed and injury to Christopher Norris after that last caution, Kanata moves up to that of 3rd, and 4th is wide open for Danny Cochran to get a win and move on into our Final 4.
That would be wild to see here, scenes as it looks like the 14-years already gets the pass done on Logan Bracchio. They had their little battle earlier in the race. We watched as now Morales there in the 1 also tries to maybe take advantage of that, but man, I tell you what, if Cochran does go out there and get the win, it's going to be so interesting to see who else joins him and John Forbes when it comes down to the end of this thing. But the thing about this is, I look at someone like a Mark Whitley who's on those fresher tires, Sam. If he can get past, the Kanata, Fonseca, he's going to have a good opportunity to go up there and win this race, and he's going to need to do it, though. So it's going to be one of these things that can he clutch up and get it done, or does he run out of time?
Well, also, he's got to figure out how to beat out Malik Kuntz, who's going to have just slightly fresher tires than that 77, who's currently in 3rd place, already ahead of Mark Whitley. Whitley is putting on the pressure and using up those tires, while Malik used them up early on. Currently, right now, he's kind of hit his own rhythm, and he's slowly catching up to our leaders, while Mark Whitley is using up all the juice he's got left on these tires, trying to get by Josh Kanata, Ollie Fonseca, who have been probably some of the toughest drivers to make passes on all night long, especially Ollie Fonseca.
He really has been. They're just solid. They just make sure they get into the corner well enough to where you can't get to the quarter panel on entry. They make sure you can't get there on the exit, and they get good enough run off to where you can't clear them down into the next corner, and that's what's able to allow him to hold this position and just run this outside line very well.
He's running well, trying to keep himself in a great spot. Is Josh Kanata, Ollie Fonseca, trying to join the likes of John Forbes, who's already locked into the Final 4. Ollie had a chance to win the championship last season, led the most laps at Atlanta. Led the most laps at Charlotte for that championship race, but fell shy from gaining the Season 4 championship. And now the 24 trying his 2nd attempt at it. That of Joshua Kanata, the 16. He's trying to make the final round of 2 different leagues we covered. He already made the final 6 for WSSR. That's going to be starting their final races on Wednesday night. The 16 is trying to double down for 2 different leagues, and a feat that's been tough, but drivers have tried before, of winning 2 championships in one season for both of those series. It would be an incredible thing to watch for the 16 machine.
That would be quite the feat for sure, Sam. I'll tell you what, don't put it past Kanata. He is a definite driver to watch out for. Like you said, made it through on Wednesday nights. Now trying to make it into the championship race here for these guys in their Final 4s. It's going to be a huge threat if he does, of course, but this is the lead out front as these two have kind of scampered away from the group behind them. Reed and Cochran going to go to battle here, and the thing is about this is going to be a battle about who gets in.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It is that battle of who gets in. Both drivers in a tough spot of who can get the win here tonight, because if you win, you're bumping someone out of the Final 4. And could it be the 2 trying to go for his 2nd championship? He got the championship back in Season 3, and now tonight with another chance. Cody Reed, though, on the other hand, he has been trying to find that consistency of speed. Tonight was all knowing. I had to win. That was the only way he was going to move on with a 13-point buffer, gaining the points, enough of them. He's done everything right. Now it's clutch time with less than 40 laps to go. Can Cody Reed take the top spot and go for the win to ultimately have the perfect night you could ask for this 25?
Very well could be the perfect night for him if he does go get this win, but I will say just happened here in the last lap. Mark Whitley passed Joshua Kanata. Now only 2 cars stand between him and these top 2 positions. How long will Fonseca be able to hold off? We've seen he's been the best one it comes to all night long when it comes to holding off someone like the 77 Mark Whitley, but also Malik Coons, like you said, who's got a little bit fresher tires. He could pose a good threat also.
How aggressive does Malik want to be with the drivers behind him? I know that the 98 has had a lot of enemies throughout the season. He already showed that he's willing to put pressure on playoff drivers like he did last week at Rockingham. John Forbes had to dispatch the 98 and move him out of the way. Would Malik be willing to just get out of the way and let the playoff drivers race for these positions, or is he going to fight for every spot possible? It's time to watch and see as Trent Jump also trying to make his way forward and gain any spots possible for our Season 2 champion. Jump is in a spot where he needs to advance forward because at this point, he would not be making it to the next round of the playoffs.
And that just shows you the strength of this championship 4 and this round of 8, really, because you got guys like Trenton Jump, Christopher Norris, who, were Final 4 contenders, and even Jump a champion before in this series, who possibly don't look like they're going to move on. And it just shows you season to season, you never know if you're going to move on. And this number 77 right here, thinking he's in a must win, if he's going to have to get it done, Sam, and to say if he doesn't go out here and win this race, that'd be crazy to say he doesn't make 2 Final 4s in a row.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Whitley, as Swedish driver in the ISRC Truck Series, has been searching for the championship for so long. I mean, he's shown many a times. I mean, when we did the long run piece for the Season 3 championship of seeing the drivers, their mentalities going into the championship, Mark just wants that championship. That is the ultimate goal. He doesn't care. Yes, he enjoys getting the wins, but the championship is all that the 77 wants. And for 2 seasons in a row, not to make the Final 4, that's just disappointment. I know he's been mad about the system, on the fact that it's races and about consistency in the playoffs and not of the whole season as a whole. But hey, that's the system that we have, and we've seen many different championship winners, and we have not yet to have a 2-time champion in the ISRC Truck Series. Mark Whitley's hoping to be another one, possibly get his first ever championship. But he has got the toughest task of them all. He has to get by these drivers and run down Cody Reed and Danny Cochran, who look to be out of touch, even if the 77 makes these passes now.
They do look to be out of touch, especially with the amount of time left, and just don't know if the 77 has enough to pass this 24. I mean, at some point he's going to run out of tire because he's just pushing so hard to get these passes done. He's going to need some type of yellow, in my opinion, to bring this back in. But I will say that the top group up front, they have had a few laps where they have fell off compared to some of these guys. We could see maybe those top 2, if they get into a little battle, maybe come back towards this 3.
There's a chance at it. You saw the lunge by Trenton Jump trying to get the outside of the 16, not able to get the run, but a big wiggle for Jump. He'll keep it straight and safe from a GT Rizzari, but Joshua Kanata, what a season the 16's been having. You think back to last season, made it to the playoffs, wasn't able to make it out of the round of 16, just had troubles of issues at Daytona Road Course. Then at Miami, he got caught up in a wreck where he ultimately terminated his own car at the end of the day. This 16, just a season later, kind of having similar to what happened to Oliver Fonseca's first 2 seasons. The first season was just so much bad luck that kept on striking, but the second season, you saw the progression and the runs, and that of the 16 looking strong here this evening.
Yeah, he really is. As we got a battle going on back here, it looks like Martin Morales getting passed by the 53 of Eric Stamps. He's got Moniz right behind him, and really right now, these top 14 really all the way up to around the 6th position are really not that far off each other's. Ooh, you can see the big slide there for the 53 and the 1.
And these drivers, they might be racing back for 12th, 13th, and 14th place, but again, they're willing to put all the pressure on for each and every position. We saw Eric Stamp and others bring out a wreck before, but Stamp looks like there's just too much issues. He's going to slow down, get out of the way. He doesn't want to bring out the yellow flag, and instead he'll let the 1 and the 5 race it out on who's going to get in 12th position. As they continue to race on, Stamp heads to pit road, and I think he might be calling it a night for the 53 machine.
Does look to be that way, and as we look back to the top 2 up here, the gap is increasing here, Sam, and I'm not too surprised. I feel like Reed has done such a good job to stay this close for this long, but just staying in the dirty wake of the 2 that dirty air taking away the downforce on the tires, just not allowing them to stick to the track as well, sliding on top of the surface, building heat, building pressure, just not amounting to good speed for him. As looks like Danny Cochran hoping this thing stays green because he wants a clean sell-in to Homestead.
And Eric Stamp looks to be getting back out on track. Mason Cassidy has called it a night. The 17 officially done for tonight's race after contact between the 17 and 38. I know for Norris, not a fan of that move on himself, getting into the 17, and ultimately could be the end of a championship run for the best season Norris has ever had. For other drivers, they just continue to put the pressure on, moving forward as Mark Whitley under a spot where he may not move on to race for a championship. Trent Jump in the same spot where he may not be running for a championship. And it's all down to the top two of Danny Cochran, Eric Stamp on who's in or out of making the final four if this race stays green.
That's the key. If it stays green, 20 to go here, anything's possible. If the yellow flag comes out, I think you're going to see a busy pit road, but I think the thing about the busy pit road is you're going to see a busy pit road mixed bag of strategies. I think you'll really see some two tires and some risky plays from a few drivers that are in must-win scenarios.
That's, again, if we get a yellow with less than 20 laps to go. Drivers are making the decision. Where do they want to be for this race as Danny Cochran continues to try to pull away for the two, but the battle between Joshua Kanata and as well going to be the battling between 16 and others. Kanata's got to be careful because if he falls too far back, the points on where they're at, the 16 could be passed by both Cody Reed and Danny Cochran to where the 16 doesn't move on for a run for a championship.
This is best case scenario for Cody Reed. This would allow him, like you said, to possibly not have to win this race, but see Jump there having a little bit of a slide there. Also with the 14 coming into the picture here. This is going to be dire situations for Kanata here, Sam. He cannot give up these two spots. Those 2 points could be the difference between him moving on.
It's a 5-point difference between Joshua Kanata and to Trent Jump. That of Cody Reed to Joshua Kanata. Danny Cochran, if he wins, he automatically takes that spot for the final position. But it was down to Kanata and Norris on being the last two drivers. Norris is so far back, he's not even a factor here anymore. Mark Whitley is in a must-win scenario. There is a lot of situations that you look at the points, there is still chances of movement on who's in or out. The three drivers, though, that are looking confident and comfortable because of where they're running. John Forbes, who's already locked in because of his win last week at Rockingham. Ollie Fonseca inside of the top 5 is already solidified. He stays where he's running at currently. But Joshua Kanata, Christopher Norris, they were the last two drivers that are inside of our top 4. Well, Kanata is in a spot where he's about to fall outside of the points. Norris is way outside of the points now. And it's a run of Kanata and Cody Reed. If Kanata loses more positions, Reed could move on just based off of points.
Oh, man, this is nerve-wracking times, I think, for all these drivers. And it's tough when you're just in the cockpit yourself. It's hard to do math when you're driving and trying to put down your fastest times. If you're Reed, you still think you got to go win this race. You don't know the situation with Kanata. And I'll say Reed's even closing the gap down. He still has an opportunity with 13 to go for this thing to get the win. And how much will he risk? Will he risk taking Cochran out with himself? And that could even open the door even more.
Last season, Atlanta was the last race of the round of 8. It came down to a last pass, last corner between John Forbes, Christopher Norris on who was making the final 4, and it could come down to a similar situation, and instead, it's Cody Reed having his fate on two drivers that are both battling to potentially bounce each other out of the playoffs. If Trent Jump makes the move, he still doesn't have enough points to move on, but it could assist the 25, and it's down to the battling between those two drivers as the 77 Mark Whitley must-win scenario. His fate practically set and sealed unless a yellow flag comes out.
Tough scenario for him, Sam. Fought so hard tonight. This guy passed so many trucks, but looks like once again, one season or 2 seasons in a row will come up just a little bit short. And this one I think is going to sting more because last season, he missed a race in the playoffs, and that's a valid reason to not move on. But this season, not missing a race, just having tough luck when it comes down to these races.
Danny Cochran, 10 laps to go. The 2 I mean, we've seen him clutch up at moments when it came down to critical times where he needed to be up front, challenge for a chance to fight for a championship, challenge for making the Elite Eight. And the 2 does it again on making the Elite Eight, making the Final Four has been hit or miss for some seasons. And tonight, with 9 laps to go, crossing his fingers, hoping this race stays green as he watches his fate of the driver behind him and Cody Reed in the hands of Trent Jump and Joshua Kanata. I mean, Zach, for Danny Cochran, what a spill it's been the last couple of seasons. To have a chance to even fight for the Final Four is shocking with the bad luck that he's had so far.
It really has been, and what a turnaround. It really started with that Sonoma win. Ever since then, it seems like it's just been a slow regain for him, and right now has the chance, has the opportunity if he goes and wins here tonight to move on to that final round and possibly be that first repeat champion. If he gets it done, the storylines behind that, especially after the seasons he's had since that championship, what a season, or what a story that would be.
And for these drivers, 7 laps to go for Danny Cochran. I mean, like I said, Sonoma, that win really did change everything, and he came into the playoffs just looking for consistency for himself. And coming in tonight, 2 wins in total for Danny Cochran, aiming for his 3rd, which would tie the most wins so far this season, joining the ranks of Mark Whitley and Christopher Norris with 3. And Danny is one of those drivers we always talk about. He's got a chance to make the Final Four. 6 laps to go here tonight. And for Cody Reed, it's crunch time for the 25. Now for Trent Jump, he has not advanced forward on catching Joshua Kanata, but for the 25, there's another way maybe he can make that of the Final Four, and that's bonus points and positioning. Cody, right now in 2nd place, is being ran down by Malik Kuntz, and if the 25 makes sure he does not get an instant point, that 1 bonus point, as long as Joshua Kanata doesn't have a bonus point on instant points, 25 has that slim chance, Zach, of making the Final Four still.
Oh man, that's nerve-wracking for him because Malik is closing in right here, and he cannot risk too much. I mean, he doesn't want to get the incident point to get the bonus point, or to allow him to get that bonus point. And if Malik gets over and gets a little bit too racy with him, that could give him that incident point. That could take that 1 point away, and even possibly 2 if he swings it the wrong way and loses the spot.
Fighting forward, 4 laps to go. Danny Cochran feeling confident, comfortable, but Cody Reed realizing his fate right now would rest in his hands. If Trent Jump can't make this pass, and he just isn't closing in. 3 laps to go. Malik, last time by, inching closer that go around by 1/100th of a second, and it's just gonna inch closer and closer. And for the 25, he's got to be hoping, Malik, just let me keep this position, don't hit me, and we will be cool moving into next week. But moving closer and closer is Malik, as Malik gets in the outside wall for a quick second. 2 laps to go. Danny looks good, but the 25 is crossing his fingers to stay in front of this 98.
He's trying to hold on here, Sam, as the 98 flies through 1 and 2 and looks like he's going to hit the wall almost out of 2, but just doesn't have the run down the back straightaway. Can Reed hold on for just a lap and a half?
Malik Kuntz influenced the playoff racing last week, but this go around hard in the outside wall. That's what Cody needs. It's your lap, white flag in the air for Danny Cochran. Cody Reed trying to pull away the fast as he can to make sure that Malik doesn't touch him, and also keeps the positioning. Kanata, he's able to stay in front of Trent Jump. Other drivers fighting for every position possible, but Danny Cochran up the exit of turn number 4. The 2 will be fighting for another championship for himself as he wins the ISRC 140 for that of Danny Cochran.
Great job by the 2. He's going to Homestead with a chance to fight with John Forbes and 2 other drivers. We believe at least one of them is his teammate Ali Fonseca. We'll see who else is the 4th driver that joined him, but man, oh man, got to the lead, Sam. Never gave it up from that point on.
Never gave it up, and drivers get to hear the fireworks blasting on the back. Kanata did get an incident point for himself. Cody Reed didn't. And that's going to be a point that could be helping Cody Reed move on, because there's a chance that it could be a tie for that final spot on who's in or out besides where Danny Cochran is. It's now the 2 is locked in. Other drivers that look to be good on points, Ali Fonseca in the 24, And as well, looking at other drivers, John Forbes is already locked in. It's just the final 2 spots, Zach, that we're going to have to wait for official confirmation on who's in or out because the points are that close between one another.
This is going to be get your calculators out time as we nervously wait to see who is going to be joining Cochran and Forbes because, man, Sam, this is going to be a great championship battle next week heading into Homestead.
It certainly will be. Well, for us up the booth, we will step away when we come back. It's the post-race show for the ISRC Lyria Productions Truck Series as the last race of the round of 8 done, concluded. Danny Cochran is your winner here in Iowa. We will talk to our top 3, Danny Cochran, Cody Reed, Malik Kuntz, and a spotlight driver right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show. We will not be having a spotlight driver. We'll be just talking to our top 3 as we will head to victory lane. The Iowa 140 going to be won by Danny Cochran in the 2, tying the most winningest driver of the season at 3, joining the likes of Christopher Norris and Mark Whitley. And Danny, with this win, you book your ticket to fight for another championship. Congratulations on the win. Man, how are you feeling after tonight's run?
Yeah, thanks, guys. It feels pretty great, man. Truthfully, going into tonight, I didn't know if we had it in us because Dirty Air was just such a pain in the tail, man. I was a little skeptical, a little worried that we'd be able to make any ground there, but thankfully, to some circumstances outside of our control there, after the stage, we were able to pick up some track position and then put ourselves in a good spot, and I was able to time Cody about right on that restart. And clean air is just king, man. That's what you get with the trucks. I'm not going to pretend to praise it on weeks where it benefits me, as much as I hate on it the rest of the time. Clean air is the reason I won that race, man. Cody, he drove a fantastic race tonight. And it's like I was telling him in the waiting room, man, there was a small part of me, I was like, man, I hope he at least gets to me. I want to see him have a shot at this thing. But I didn't want to get wrecked either. But, yeah, I really didn't think I'd have a shot tonight, man. To get in the Final Four, I was like, I'm just going to run my race. Whatever happens, happens. If we make it, cool. If not, I ain't going to be heartbroken about it. But, yeah, we're going to Homestead, boys.
That you are, Danny. Congrats, buddy, on the win, not only, but also going to Homestead to fight for another championship to try to be the first repeat champion. So we'll see how you can play it out there, man. But done a great job tonight. And like you said, a few circumstances played your way. You got the track position, but it was so tough to pass tonight. Not only was the dirty air strong, but it seemed like that outside was just so strong that passing on the bottom became very tough. But you were able to do it. How did you somehow manage to make a few passes out there on the night on that bottom?
Good old fashioned slide job, man. I mean, you can do it for about 10 laps, and then after that, the tires are just too worn. The track surface, it just won't allow for it. Just got to send it in there, lick the stamp, hope it sticks, and see where you end up. Thankfully, I ended up with a clean car every time I done it. I seen the attempt done in front of me there a little bit after the stage. Didn't quite end the same way, but yeah, man, just if you're going to do any passing, and I figured this out in the practice that we ran this week because I am back to my old ways, running a little bit of practice, a bit of practice. You can make some stuff happen in about the first 7 to 10 laps in a run, but outside of that, you're really you are where you are.
Well, it looks like we might have lost Sam there for a second.
I just forgot to unmute myself. That was simple and easy. Danny, you find yourself with a win now. You're locked in. You're running for your potential second championship. What is your thoughts heading into Homestead? What is going on? Knowing that we're looking at the points, unofficially looks like Mark Whitley's not going to be there, who always dominates when he shows up to Miami. What is your thought process now knowing, hey, I've got a chance for a championship?
I mean, obviously the race win is at the forefront of your mind, but also it's like, man, this series is so competitive. There's any number of us that could go out there and win this thing, and if it's Mark, no worries. We have to be Ollie, Josh, and do we know who the other one is?
Right now we're waiting for official confirmation.
I guess it'd be
unofficially
Forbes,
for me,
obviously.
it's looking like it's a tie currently between Kanata and Reed.
Interesting. Okay, wow, that's actually really interesting that Cody was able to run that far, because I thought he was in a must-win going into tonight. But regardless of who it is, any of these guys, man, that I'm racing with for the championship, we've raced it one another very clean all season. We ran really, hard and aggressive, but cleanly around one another. I'm confident that we can do it one more time, and if we win the race, fantastic. If not, I'm just happy to be here fighting it out with some of my best friends in the league. So that's pretty sweet. But yeah, race win, really important. But if we can just have a solid day, I feel like you could still clinch the championship.
Well, Danny, it's looking like it's going to be an interesting one. We're still waiting official confirmation on who's in or out. But before we officially let you go, Danny, the floor is now yours.
Yeah, shout out to you guys for broadcasting, of course. The admins who put this thing on. I know Tyler unfortunately had some issues and he wasn't able to be here tonight. Hope he gets that all sorted out. And obviously my sponsors, Hot Lap Threads, Larry Arts Productions. He was the first one to message me after the race. I really appreciate that, Larry. The rest of my sponsors, Rex Tech Tire and Auto, and J&J Tax, his own Mexican restaurants and steakhouses. Yeah, all those guys that helped me put the real life car on the track. If you want to buy some Danny Cochran Racing merch, go check out hotlapthreads.com. We got some on there. It's the Larry scheme on the truck on the shirt. So beautiful white, purple, and green. If you're interested in picking some of that up, I'd be greatly appreciated right before championship weekend. It'll be shipped to you, should be before the championship gets here. So rep that on race day. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it.
Well, congratulations, Danny, and good luck fighting for a championship as you're one of the 3 people we believe is automatically locked in. We're still waiting on that confirmation, but good luck.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yep, that is going to be the 2 machine going to victory lane here in Iowa as we move down to second place, where we still are waiting on official confirmation, but it's looking very close on who's in or out as we bring in second place in coming into tonight's race, Cody Reed. Cody, what a run that you had here this evening for yourself. Second place, you maximize on all points except for the win. But man, how are you feeling after tonight's performance?
Man, I'm pretty upset. I had probably like the best race I've ever driven, like ever, and got all the points I could. Led the most laps, led a lap, no incident points, won the stage, and I'm still pretty confident I'm not in, just based on like where other people finished. If I just had a decent race last race, I would have had no problem getting into the final round. Really, just like a lack of drivers entering these last couple races kind of screwed me. There's a lot less opportunity for people to like lose points when there's like only like 16 people in the field. Um, so I really like had to hope that I had a race like tonight, and then everyone else in the playoffs like finished outside the top 10 with no stage points, or I needed to go in and win. And as soon as I knew that, as soon as we had that restart where Danny like timed it perfectly, I knew it was pretty much over because it's just Iowa's just it's an awful track. It's so bad on iRacing. Like there's like a there's like a 2-3 tenths back. Like if you're that far back behind someone, it's just impossible to pass. There's a bubble there. You can't get a run, and when you do, it just takes so much of your tires away. So I just kind of had to settle into second and hang on because I knew Malik was coming. But it's kind of a shame that I won't make it to the next round. But it was a pretty good race overall.
Well, hopefully, Cody, the points turn out better than what you're thinking right now. Is we're still waiting for official word on that. But talking about that restart, do you feel like there's anything from your side you could have done differently there? As you said, Cochran just really timed that one well.
Man, I really don't know. I think starting on the outside was the better move. It's just that was really easy, like going in turn 1 and turn 2 on the restarts, because I just kind of have like PTSD, I guess, from Watkins Glen season 3 when I started on the lead off the restart and just took myself out and a few others. So I kind of wanted to take it easy through 1 and 2, and that kind of blew me the race right there. I really don't think I could have done anything different. Maybe if the prior restart, like I had somehow, some way helped John keep his position and not get like bumped around and bumped back, because he was like really good at defending for me in the first stage, and losing him was huge for me. Um, but no, I mean Danny just timed it perfectly. There's really nothing I could do.
I mean, Cody, we're still waiting again on confirmation, but it's so close. We have to wait for what they're going to say officially after this race is done. But man, what a season that you had so far for yourself. If you're not able to move on and run for a championship, what are some thoughts that you could take away from this season?
I statistically it's my best season by a large margin, like top 5s, top 10s, lead lap finishes. I've only ever finished on the lead lap this season. I've ran every single lap, me and Josh both. So that's pretty cool. Just I feel a lot more consistent. I only had one Cody Reed moment this entire season, which is I'm really proud of. Um, and even that wasn't that bad. Um, but overall, it's been a pretty good season, and I'm gonna keep practicing for next week. I'm still gonna try to win the race, even if I'm not in the final 4. So
Well, I knew, Cody, still a solid season for yourself. Congratulations on a great run that you could ask for here tonight. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours.
yeah, I'd like to thank my teammates and especially John for tonight. Was kind of helping me throughout stage 1. You guys put on a great show as usual, and league admins for putting the league together. Uh, my dad too, always shouting out my dad. So that's it.
Well, Cody, congratulations on a second place finish here tonight. We hope for a good run next week at Homestead to finish the season off, and enjoy this week as you head into Miami.
Thank you.
Well, you can hear the disappointment, unsure of where he's going to be placing himself moving into the next round or not. Again, we're still waiting on official confirmation. The points are just too close. We go down to third place for a driver trying to cause a lot more ruckus. Thought maybe the tires would be a little bit more there at the end, but still a great run. We got Malik Kuntz with us. Malik coming away in third here this evening. The pit stop strategy worked out, man. How are you feeling coming away with third place here tonight?
It feels good. I really didn't want to pit right there. I would have restarted 6th instead of 15th, but I had some damage from that whatever brought out the caution. So my hand was kind of forced to pit. I would have rather stayed out on old tires, but I guess it worked out. I kind of went a little bit early. Ollie and Mark had caught me, and I really didn't want to go till about 15 to go, but I had to go like 25 to go.
Almost just getting a little bit close there to second there for you, Malik, but it's still nonetheless a great run, man, with those fresher tires, able to really march your way up through the field, but, not involved in the playoffs anymore, knocked out after a few rounds. And, heading into Homestead, what's kind of your goal here to end out the season?
Uh, this was a track. Iowa was a track I had circled. All of these high tire wear tracks I'm generally good at. Homestead, I felt like I was really good last year. Got caught behind on that fuel strategy. I feel like got a good shot next week. Just gotta make sure I don't run out of fuel like I did last time.
Yeah, we are hoping that doesn't happen again, Malik, but still a solid run for yourself. A great season so far after bouncing back from last season's woes. Congratulations on third. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours.
Just thank my teammates. We've practiced a little bit here and there, and it's been fun racing with them this season.
Well, that will be the 98 machine of Malik Kuntz coming away with a third place finish. Congratulations, Malik, and good luck next week at Homestead.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to be your top three drivers, as they were all different moods. Yeah, the excitement of Danny Cochran, the down of Cody Reed, and Malik just not sure how to feel, I think, after tonight. I mean, Zach, a wild one. And again, unofficially, I was trying to do the quick math very quickly from the transition for the end of the race to now. There were a couple of recounts I had to do, and it looks to be so close. Either 1 point or tied between the likes of Cody Reed and as well going to be Joshua Kanata. Both are so close that we're going to have to wait for official confirmation, which will be next week when we start the broadcast off for our championship Final Four, because we will not be getting our data in here tonight, sadly. But we can look at the unofficial results of tonight's race. So let's see where our 17 drivers lined up, with the winner of Danny Cochran joining John Forbes in the win column this round. 100% locked in are those two. Ollie Fonseca looks good on points, as well as those are going to be the three drivers. We're waiting on who's going to be the fourth to battle between the three for the championship next week. But Danny in second, Cody Reed in practically just still waiting on his fate, finishes in second. Malik Kuntz in third. Mark Whitley finishes in fourth. Ollie Fonseca fifth. Josh Kanata sixth. Seventh goes Trent Jump, as GT Rizari finishes in eighth. Nick Crawford ninth, and finishing out our top 10 goes to Logan Breakey.
And as you look through the rest of the order, two drivers that were involved in the round of 8 will finish outside the top 10. That's John Forbes. No big issue for him, as he won last week, so he's locked into that Final Four. But 14th for Christopher Norris, not going to get it done. So the 38-3 wins this season, tied with the most with Mark Whitley and Danny Cochran, not going to move on. And that's going to be a tough ordeal for him, because last season, going on to the Final Four, I think he set his expectations that high, but sometimes you got to move on.
You do have to move on. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow for some drivers that were favorites to move on. Trent Jump, Mark Whitley, Christopher Norris. Tough for those three drivers that will not be moving on into the playoffs. So still, the fates wait for where Cody Reed and Joshua Kanata will be. Well, thank you so much to everyone joining with us here on your Monday night for Freaky Fast Broadcasting. The intensity level was high, but it's going to get even higher as we move forward throughout the week, as the Full Send Racing Series get prepared on that of Las Vegas in the Xfinity cars, as they get ready for the second to last race of the regular season. Wednesday, it's the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, as they take the Gen 4 cars. The first race of the championship round heads to Homestead, Miami. Then on Thursday, Stars and Stripes, they are in their playoff push on who's going to find themselves running well at Rockingham. It's going to be a good one, as we cannot wait to see how those drivers are going to be attacking, as we've just gotten late word on who's in, who's out. Zach, coming in by just 1 point, Joshua Kanata takes that final spot.
Oh, man. 1 point, Sam. And like we were talking about, we talked about the position between him and Trenton Jump coming down to the end. That one could have been the position that gave up everything. And then you got to feel for Reed, though. Almost a perfect night. Other than the win, you got to feel gutted for him, but also feel amazing for Kanata. So tough break there, but I mean, Sam, it just shows you every time when these playoffs come down to it, usually it's a 1 to 2 point gap that is solidifying that cutoff.
We got some veterans that are running for their first ever chance for a championship. You got that of John Forbes trying his best to get a championship. Danny Cochran, a past champion, trying to make history of becoming the first two-time champion. Oliver Fonseca trying to redeem himself from last season. And Joshua Kanata, he didn't even make it out of the round 6 of 16 last season. He's now challenging for the Final Four. And as well, in the championship round for 2 different leagues that we cover here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Whoo, is this going to be a fun week and a couple of weeks of action to watch. We already gave you the rundown on where these drivers are going to be running for us that we cover here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But Zach, Homestead, Miami, the final destination of Season 5. Cannot wait for it next week.
Oh man, Sam, it's going to be fun, man. Those 4 drivers is a great story, I think, for each and every one of them. So there's nothing for us up in the booth to want more than to see one of those guys win. So it's going to be a fantastic week preparing for them, getting ready for this race. And Homestead also a track that I think, the guys talked about how tough it was the past night, the dirty air. I think Homestead, that's going to be a track that allows these drivers to move around, find the space, and really be the driver that says, I'm the quickest here tonight. I've been the best, and I'm going to prove it here tonight at Homestead, Miami. And I'm telling you, Sam, I can't wait, man, because it's always fun to see who wins that championship.
Who will move on? Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining with us here in the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series. Monday night coverage was a blast to give you. We've got our 4 drivers that will be running for the championship next week. But for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr., and all from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us. Can't wait for next week. It's going to be a good one. Season 2 was the last time this league had Homestead Miami as the final race, and it probably was one of the best championship races you could ask for. Cannot wait to see what Season 5 is going to bring us, but if you cannot wait for more racing action, we'll see you tomorrow night. Full Send Racing Series, Las Vegas. Who's going to win and gamble it all on our next Freaky Fast broadcast?